You've antagonized them.
Near and dear. The youth.
Well, she's on my side now. I think she likes your blanket. This is dog talk.
She just likes being there. Dog talk.
This is dog talk.
I was real confused for a second. I was like, wait a minute.
This is on the how our dogs like to hang with us and be as noisy as possible while recording. You get that right.
Their little nails just clickety clack, like this is ASMR.
That wasn't too prominent, and I was pretty happy about it because honestly, that was a serious worry for me. Anyway, this is the Nerd Spectrum podcast. I almost said nerdy.
You forgot our name.
A little bit. Well, I'm so used to saying nerdy instead of nerd, I guess.
Okay.
Anyway, this is the Nerd Spectrum podcast. I'm Jorge.
I'm Daisy.
And today we're talking Canon.
You know what's good about us?
What?
That you're a boy and I'm a girl, so no one will ever be like, who's talking?
Who
is who? Because I have that problem.
Yeah, but you know what's weird is that I listen to other podcasts, and even when there is a girl, like, I have a hard time imagining a face. So unless I don't recognize, like, the people, like Collider, Screen Junkies, all that stuff, since they all do, like, podcasts as well as those platforms, I'm like, I know these people, but when they have a guest, I'm like, who do I imagine? What does their face look like?
I just think we should never show our face ever. Like, keep up that mystery.
Like the creepypasta guys, how they wear the masks.
Do they?
We went to their reading, and yeah, they were wearing...
Yeah, we went to their panel at Comic-Con. They weren't wearing masks?
Yes, one was. Yes, they were.
They were?
Yes.
That was like 3 years ago. I can't remember.
And that's why Chris Oz Fulton, when he draws, like, he drew Slenderman, but he also drew, like, them. They wear masks.
I had no idea.
And when they were doing signings at his booth, they were wearing masks. Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever. People aren't gonna know what I look like, regardless.
This coming from the cosplayer.
Yeah, I know. Like,
people don't even know what
my
I look
pictures
like.
are like my living. Like, of course they're gonna know what I look like. I guess maybe we can keep up your mystery. Like, who is Jorge? What is he?
Just some geek.
Nerd.
I'm that guy with the camera and the Star Wars books and comics or whatever. No, not even comics. I got rid of my comics, but. We'll always have Star Wars books of some sort. Anyway, today we're talking Canon. And...
Sure.
Oh, I didn't tell you.
What?
Fantastic Beasts production got pushed back to fall. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'm not going to lie.
Why are you happy? You're a bow.
I need them to... I really need JK, if she's writing the script, to think about her choices. And honestly, like, because it's getting annoying at this point.
Whatever, we're going to get to that.
So, Canon, right? What is Canon? Canon is the story
is what is decided.
It's what is cemented as truth or fact in any fictional world, right?
Right.
So, Star Wars had, like, 6 levels of canon. Thank God Disney got... I know everybody hates that, but, like, thank God Disney erased all of it. Yeah. And now we just have whatever Disney puts forth as canon, whether it be books, cartoons... comics. Am I missing anything?
No. Well, the shorts.
They have shorts?
Yeah. They have that, I don't remember, like, what the title of it is, but it's, like, all the girls.
Oh,
in
right,
Star
right, right.
Wars,
The YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not Star Wars Galaxies. I'm blanking.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
We don't do our research.
Yeah, we definitely do not.
We're just going to speak out of our butts.
But, yeah, I know what you're talking about, because they have, like, they have what they're doing now, where they're talking iconic moments.
Yeah, they have, like, shorts on Rey and Leia, and I think Ahsoka has one, too.
She does.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Just so everybody has their own.
So, we'll start with...
Let's start with what I wrote down, because you made me write things down. So, I started with wizards.
Okay.
Just regular old wizards. Yeah, let's start with Harry Potter. Because I have a lot of feelings. And like while I was writing down my points, I realized that I had more feelings than I wanted to admit that I had.
What does that mean? You repress them?
A little bit, yeah.
You're just like...
So, for anyone that doesn't know me in real life, which is probably everybody...
No, hold on. You gotta name... No, pause. You gotta name your house. You gotta name your Patronus. And what else is there in Harry Potter?
My wand, but I don't know what my wand is.
You don't know what your wand is?
I took the quiz, but I can't remember what it is.
Wow, I remember what mine is.
I don't remember what mine is. I mean, I can log into Pottermore, like, real quick and figure it out.
No,
but...
it's too late. Are you talking like your wand that you got on Pottermore, or are you talking your wand that we bought based off your horoscope?
No. Okay, that's bullshit because like
that's how it went down.
Okay, yes. Yes, you bought it for me based on like the month that I'm born in. You get a specific wand that goes with like your horoscope, but I think that's bullshit. Because literally everybody born in January therefore has the same wand, and that's not cool. Because I know a lot of people born in January, apparently.
Like who?
Just a lot of people we know in real life. I'm not going to name them.
Yeah, I guess that wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Just like... And I'd rather go off of Pottermore because I answered like questions about myself, and I feel like that's more accurate to what I would actually use if I was in Harry Potter.
You're telling me you don't subscribe to astrology?
No, I don't.
How very Capricorn are you?
Shut up! Anyways, for everyone that doesn't know me, I am Slytherin House represent. We're not all bad eggs. You can suck my butt. And I'm...
What's your Patronus?
A falcon.
The thing you hate most.
I fucking hate birds. I hate birds so much, but my Patronus is a falcon. And I assume that's for a reason. I assume that this Pottermore quiz
you're like a bird.
Figured out that I am terrified of birds. It was like, hey, get over your fear. Here's a freaking falcon.
No, you're like a bird. You want to fly away. What's the rest of the song?
Fly away. I don't know. That's like that's like
I don't
the
know
chorus.
where my soul is. Or I don't know where my home is. It's one of the two.
Yeah, I don't know what my I don't know.
My house... Rude.
No one cares about your house.
I'm a Gryffindor.
No one cares.
It's pretty obvious.
No.
Thank you. Here to save your day.
Shut up. Oh my gosh.
And my wand...
Listen.
No. My wand is Vine. I'm going based off what I bought, not based off... Because I don't...
Off the quiz?
Yeah, because I don't think the chances of me... Well, I know my core was unicorn hair.
But that's all you know.
That's all I remember.
I think
and I know it was like a firm
like,
rigidity. Like it was like it would not bow very easily.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate to you. I think my wand was like 9 inches.
You had dragon heartstring though, because it was because it was all about
Probably.
like being boastful.
I think it was like yeah, yeah. I think it was like semi-flexible, so I don't know what kind of wood it was made out of, but
that didn't have to do with the wood, did it? I thought I thought it had more to do with like whether or not
it's the wood
yield to somebody.
No. I'm pretty sure it was the wood.
I'm pretty sure you're wrong.
Regardless, I'm a giant Harry Potter fan. That is my fucking thing.
That you've dropped like...
I know.
No, you've already dropped 3. You can't say F.
I've dropped 2.
I don't believe you.
I said freaking the
You tried
the
to save
second
yourself?
time. Yeah, I did.
Okay. Well,
I was
whatever.
like, let me calm down because I'm going to get real heated.
But
I'm a giant Harry Potter nerd.
Star Wars is mine. That's why we're talking wizards and space wizards today.
This is
basically
going to get real heated. I have a lot of feelings about Harry Potter, obviously.
I mean, you haven't said enough that you could say obviously to that. But that's why I thought we should touch on the Fantastic Beasts.
Well,
thing.
obviously to you, because you know me.
Yeah.
So.
You know, married to you, I would hope I know that you're into Harry Potter.
I would hope you would know too, but maybe you've gone like these 6 years just not caring about
just
my
went
interests.
And bought robes for no reason.
Yeah, we just went to Harry Potter World in Orlando, and I bought robes and all, and I like freaked out real hard.
I bought robes too, so it just what is that?
No, maybe you were just like, this is for me, and you just didn't pay
cool.
attention to like the fact that I was having the best day of my life.
Maybe that's possible.
Could be. But yeah, I have a lot of feelings towards it, and in writing them down, I realized I had more feelings than I thought I had.
That's just really funny. I don't understand what you mean by that, but go for it.
I'll explain it. Okay, so we're talking canon, and like how far is too far? I think is the topic of discussion today. And the best examples of that are Harry Potter because it has had its resurgence with Fantastic Beasts, and obviously Star Wars has had its resurgence with the new trilogy.
But it went,
and they both came in like the same year, I think. Or within the year, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
within this,
Force Awakens came out, and I think like April or March, Fantastic Beasts released.
Fantastic Beasts came out in like November. It has like the end of the year.
Oh no, yeah, you're right, because it's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
November, October, like that kind of time. Is when they came out. So like with a year apart, I think.
Both like companies, like simultaneously did the opposite. Like Lucasfilm got rid of everything.
And then Harry Potter was just like, we're going to do everything.
Not even like that. They were like, we're doubling down on everything.
Yeah.
So, like,
yes,
deal with it, essentially.
So
JK's word is law.
It is.
It bugs me.
Did you see that thing on Twitter or somewhere
that
on the internet?
They made it disappear.
They just pooped wherever and they just made their poop disappear.
Yeah.
This is like knowledge I don't need to know.
This is stuff that is irrelevant, doesn't matter, and like bugs me. This is EU level.
She like confirmed that like the Hufflepuffs like to like circle jerk in the common room.
Like this is EU level shit that is like unnecessary. Like no one needs or cares about that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
I mean, I don't I just assumed that Hogwarts always had like bathrooms.
You can give Hufflepuff like a little more recognition.
Or like an outhouse or something. Like it didn't have to be modern day plumbing.
Well, that's how it's portrayed in the movies.
Also, where does your bathroom, like where does your poop go?
What do you mean?
Like she said that you make it disappear, right? But like where does it go?
Probably like a furnace. If they didn't have central heating or something like that, I would imagine that you have to put your poop somewhere. But then the whole school is
gonna smell like buttholes.
No, because if you put manure or coal to fuel like a train, the train doesn't smell like crap.
I don't know how you fuel trains with poop.
You just throw it in. It like, you know what I mean?
That's not something ever I've like thought about.
If you gotta burn what you gotta burn, man, that's just the way it is.
I'm just saying, like, an outhouse seems like a better idea than just vanishing your poop.
And it's all shut out, so like you're just keeping a fire lit. You're not like it's not gonna it'll smell, obviously, like the room will smell like hell. And,
right.
And the heat won't help that, but like once it disperses, it's not like it matters.
Maybe it's just Hagrid's fault. He's like, I'm tired of dealing with this. Like,
it would have been Filch.
Put in some plumbing. Yeah, I guess you're right. Well,
Hagrid as the gameskeeper deals
with
poop.
And the grounds.
That doesn't...
If there's an outhouse, that is the grounds.
That doesn't pan out. Nope. I don't subscribe to that at all.
Okay, whatever. We're talking about canon. We're getting off topic slightly.
No, because this is relevant, because it just goes to show how stupid it is.
Yeah, because she said it. Okay. Whatever. Okay, so... Just regular old wizards. We're not on space wizards yet, so...
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so... Fantastic Beasts. The first one, I think, was... good.
You really had to take that pause, huh?
I did.
Is it because you don't know?
No, I definitively like the first movie. I think it's good. I like the story. There's like some good like creatures, I don't know, like history to it.
There's a good beasts.
Niffler. There's some good beasts in there. I like them beasts. It's the second one, The Crimes of Grindelwald, where I think I've decided that I don't like it that much.
Same.
And that's my problem. That's what I meant when I was like, I wrote things down and I realized things.
You realized how much you hate The Crimes of Grindelwald? It
was basically like whenever I read The Cursed Child. At first, like I finished the book and I was like, yeah, this is good. I'm behind this. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, actually, no, I hate that book. It's garbage and should not exist.
So that's your Phantom Menace. Or, well, Phantom for most people, Attack for me.
Are you talking about the book or the movie?
The movie.
No, Undetermined, because there's only 2 movies out of the supposed to be 5.
Yeah, but it my biggest criticism of of Crimes of Grindelwald, because I know it's just Fantastic Beasts or it's Crimes of Grindelwald. That's really all you have to do to separate. But my biggest dislike for Crimes of Grindelwald was it was such a middle movie.
Yeah,
it did nothing but like set up platforms for like other things, and I was like, this is
my
stupid.
problem is, yes, it is a middle movie, but that's not even the main thing that is like I didn't like it, because I think it could have been good despite it being a middle movie.
You need to stand up on its own, Daisy. Middle children and middle movies need to be able to stick up for themselves.
I think there was a lot of things going on, and J.K. Rowling's writing all the scripts for all of the movies, and I think that she just wanted to fit a lot of lore into one movie. Because, like, she has said in, like, interviews before that she had backgrounds for, like, almost all the teachers at Hogwarts and, like, just all this background information in general.
How'd that serve the McGonagall situation?
I mean, you can see the McGonagall situation, like, on Pottermore. Like, that was interesting. Like, I liked reading that.
Well,
but, like,
wait, what do you mean? I thought McGonagall wouldn't have been teaching at that point at the school.
What are you talking about? Oh, in the movie?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about, like, the Pottermore stuff that she put out.
No, wait, what part? Is there any, aside from teacher relevancy, but, like,
she put her entire backstory.
Wasn't that a clash of truth?
I don't think we're talking about the same thing right now.
That McGonagall should not have been working at Hogwarts at the point that she was in Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't do my research.
That was, like, a huge thing, because, like, Carlin Brothers did something on that where they're like...
Okay, you, like, totally, like, was literally in the middle of saying something, and you just, like...
That's why I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense.
No, and, like, but we're not talking... That's not where I'm going. I'm saying that when she in interviews, when it was just Harry Potter, when it was just the books,
you gotta specify that.
There was no, like, talk about Fantastic Beasts ever being a thing. There was no continuation to anything at all. It was just the books. She said in interviews that she had a whole bunch of backstories for all the teachers and, like, all of the side characters. And, like when she made Harry Potter, it's a world of its own. It was its own thing. And she had literally, like, the entire history of all the wizards. She had all of this stuff that she had written in hopes that one day when she was writing the books of Harry Potter, that it would, like, she would be able to use it. And she never did. And that's why she created Pottermore. So that she could have an outlet for all these random stories that she had come up with. And I think Crimes of Grindelwald, that's where she went wrong. Because she had all these side stories that she wanted to put in, but, like, she writes, like, 400-page books.
I'm going to need you to specify some of these side stories, because to me, it just seemed like she did not know how to write, like, a 3-character group script at all, right?
That's what I'm saying, because, like, she writes such... Like, the Harry Potter books progressively got longer and longer, which I'm not mad about because I love those.
No, yeah, but
I loved all the backstories to everybody.
The problem isn't
like... So she wasn't able to condense it to just, these are the main characters that matter, and these are the only stories that matter. She wanted to put a bunch of side stories in. Like, that's what you got with... I don't even remember the character's name because, like, it was so bad. Like, the Asian lady that was, like, supposed to be Nagini.
It was Nagini.
No, she had a different name.
No, she didn't.
Did she?
It was Nagini.
See, exactly. I didn't know that.
Oh my god. No, okay, pause. I think we're disagreeing on something real quick. The problem...
I just don't think you know what I'm talking
about. No, I understand what you're saying. It's like, she tried to do too much with too little time.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
She's used to a different medium.
Exactly. But, like, in my opinion, that wasn't a problem. She could have done all the storylines, and it all could have tied up in a neat, nice bow. The problem is, she's not familiar with the format. You can write a screenplay, that doesn't mean it's going to work.
Oh, right, because she's never wrote a movie before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like...
No, we're on the same page. You just didn't get what I was saying.
I believe she had help for Fantastic Beasts, but, like, I think she wrote this one by herself. And that came to bite her in the ass.
Yeah.
Because
there was just a lot going on.
Because I think with help, it all could have added up really nicely, even with all the splits. Because, I mean, look at, like, Avengers, right?
Yeah.
You had 4 different storylines, and then 2 combined into 1. Or 4 combined into 2 for Wakanda and Titan.
Yeah.
And that panned out really well.
Yeah.
I think the problem was that she didn't want help this time. And like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can agree on that. There's just a lot going on in it, specifically for the storytelling that she wanted to do, and then she just didn't know. Like, when you're used to writing an unlimited amount, and being able to, like, go back through and take out, like, little tiny tidbits that don't really matter, I think that's way different than having to write a, like, 2-hour movie. Mm-hmm. Like, it's completely different. So, that's my main grievance with Crimes of Grindelwald.
Your main credence?
Yeah. It was just, there's too much. Bad. And another problem that...
Is this movie, book, or, like, just
movie.
Canon? Okay.
Specific, but also canon, I guess, because it's all the same. It's like all the movies are supposed to be canon now. Like,
do you think, or has she stated anything where she's like, no, the script books I put out are like ultra canon, and then what you see on movie is like the general knowledge?
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
She might have, but I haven't seen that tweet.
Sort of like how Star Wars has, they're like the books are the ultimate, like, end all be all, but you can read books for extra that we may or may not utilize.
Yeah. No. Not that I know of. She hasn't said anything like that. But one of my other grievances is that ties into both, like, canon, like established canon and making of new canon, is she's trying really hard to connect, like, the Harry Potter series to this new Fantastic Beasts series. And they're like, it's like, I get it. Because you want it, like, it's a world together. Like, you want it to connect, whether it be with characters or, like, things that happen or just whatever.
Like the history.
Yeah. But she's trying real hard to make it all connect to Harry Potter. And, like, that doesn't happen for, like, 50 years after the fact?
Here's the problem with that, is that you say that, and in my mind, I'm like, the movie takes place later in time. Because, like, it never occurred to me when I was younger, the time...
That it was in the 90s? It
was in the... Yeah.
That the books take place in the 90s.
So when you're, like...
It kind of messes everything up.
When you're, like, 50 years later, I'm like, that's, like, the 70s. What are you talking about? Or, like, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, hold up.
Yeah, it's like... It's a big span of time between the events of the first Fantastic Beasts movie, because it's starting in the 20s.
Is Riddle even born at this point?
Yeah.
But he's not at Hogwarts?
No.
Okay.
I believe he doesn't go to Hogwarts until when Fantastic Beasts is supposed to be ending in the 40s.
Oh, okay.
So he wasn't born until the, like, 30s or something?
I know nothing about...
Or 20? I think he was born in, like, 1928.
Here's the
But
thing.
I might be wrong in that. I know his birthday is December 31st. That's it.
In terms of histories, like, dates and stuff on Harry Potter, if you were to ever quiz me, I would be destroyed. But as far as...
The only thing I do know for a fact is that Emma Watson's birthday is April 15th.
How is that relevant to... You mean Hermione?
No, I mean Emma Watson.
How is that relevant?
Because she plays Hermione.
No, that's not
I do know that Hermione is the oldest out of the three of them.
I thought that was Ron. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Bet.
Well, they're both older than Harry.
No, yeah, because he couldn't do the...
Yeah, until July.
Apparition.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to challenge you on that. Ron's older. Ron's the oldest.
Okay, whatever. I don't care.
Look, it's very, 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 like... rare that I'll be able to
you're able to one up me in Harry Potter facts.
So I gotta take advantage, just like when you shut me up on Star Wars with like something I completely forget.
Alright, like when Pablo Hidalgo told me that I was right and you were wrong.
Look, we're not gonna talk about that.
We'll talk about that later, because that's a good story.
I misunderstood what you were saying. And to be honest, I still don't understand what you're saying.
No, I don't. Whatever, this is a topic for another time, but my point is that I was right. Anyways, but yes, they're just... What was I saying? Oh.
You're on your second point.
They're trying really hard to connect it, and that's okay, because obviously, like, in the Harry Potter books, the original books, you hear about Dumbledore, like, one of his greatest achievements in life is, like, that he's credited with is the taking down of Grindelwald, which was the OG Voldemort, like, wanting to be above Muggles and all this stuff. You only briefly... Or was he,
like, can you use a dictator...
Before that?
No, can you use, like, a dictator to separate the Voldemort versus Grindelwald? Like, was Grindelwald Hitler? Because he seems like Hitler. But Voldemort doesn't really seem...
Voldemort was more like Hitler, to be honest. They both wanted essentially the same thing.
Blood purification and the ruling of Muggles?
Yeah, basically. I mean, Grindelwald's thing was more of, like, he wanted wizards to be out of the shadows. Like, he was like, we have magic, like, why are we hiding? Like, we're clearly superior beings.
Yeah, see, that's a problem where I'm
And Voldemort was more of, like, yeah, they don't have any magic at all. Like, clearly we're better than them, so we need to stomp them out and just rule the world. Like, they both essentially had the same thought process when it came to Muggles. It was just, like, different time periods. Like, if they were at the same time, they, like, powered together, it would have been good.
Muggles aside, here's why... Okay, so Voldemort could be Hitler because he didn't want blood traders. He didn't want mudbloods.
Yeah.
Can I say that? Is that okay to say on air?
It's offensive, first off. No, yeah.
But, you know...
He wanted it pure wizard blood.
Yeah, he was, like, the Aryan race.
Sure, yeah.
But... What did... Like, Grindelwald just wanted him out, so, like, I can't think of, like,
So you can just say, like, Mussolini?
Okay. I'll roll with it. You know I'm bad at history and all this stuff, so... Like,
I mean, it's essentially the same thing.
Sure.
I mean, like, he also killed his own people, so...
That's a little dark.
Yeah, well, history is pretty dark.
Cleo, I'm not quite sure why you're crying.
I think because they want to go.
No, that one does not want to go out. Is that short for...
That one does.
Yeah, she does.
So you should just let them go.
You think? Are you going to vamp? Or do you want me to vamp?
Vamp.
Vamp? You're going to go do something and I'm just going to sit here and chat about whatever until you get back?
No, you can do that.
Are you good? You're able to talk?
I want to talk?
Yeah, you have to talk.
To the people.
To the people. To our fellow muggles.
Yes.
You just admitted to being a muggle.
Yes.
Ooh.
We can all dream, can't we, boys?
I am a Jedi, so, you know.
Sure.
Anyway, I'll be right back.
Sure thing, cool beans.
Good luck.
Oh my gosh. Hold on, I want to wear the headphones. I want to be professional.
You can wear the headphones.
Ah, what?
You can wear the headphones now if you want. I don't care. Can
Okay.
you not hear me?
No, I think I pressed the button, so I'm trying to figure out if I messed.
That doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
This button?
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter with it plugged in.
Oh, okay.
Come on, let's go.
Hello, jelly beans. What is up? What am I? Okay. So, I'm a Slytherin house, which is clearly one of the superior houses, and there's a lot of misrepresentation when it comes to Slytherins, because the only Slytherin you actually know is Malfoy, and the whole family gives the Slytherins a terrible name, because what is so wrong with being a Slytherin? Literally nothing. Just what? The fact that I'm in the wrong house? Like, I'm a great person. What are the cunning? That's not a bad trait. That just means I know how to get what I want, and I go for it, and I get it, usually. And I don't think that's a bad trait. So you can take that as a bad trait because you think I'm going to backstab you, and maybe I will, but it's for the good of me. I guess it's kind of bad because it makes us a little selfish, but overall, Slytherins as a whole get a bad rap, and that's a little bullshit because I think I'm a wonderful person.
You're alright.
I'm a good person.
I don't think... Look, you can't
Slytherins
qualify
are
that.
just misrepresented, okay? Like, everybody's just like, oh, Slytherins are evil. Because that whole thing that Ron said in the first movie was like, there's not a witch or wizard alive that it went bad that it wasn't in Slytherin. That's a lie.
I mean,
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, you don't know things.
There were some bad... You can wear the headphones, it's fine. I don't
I
care.
don't want to wear the headphones. They make my head uncomfortable.
You just hit the mic.
Well,
You're getting Juno in then. So just be aware of that. She's fine. She's long-furred. And she doesn't
She'll be
really
good.
seem to get cold, so
Anyways.
give her like 5 minutes. And if you can hear that weird slurping in the background, that is our Hapabore, aka Cleo. Just make a noise.
make a noise.
Yeah, drinking water.
I'll drink some water too. Thank you very much. Just kidding. I don't have any water.
Anyway. Where were you?
I don't know. Oh, okay. I was just they were trying really hard to connect it to the main Harry Potter series.
How did we get off topic from that?
I don't know.
Oh, I asked what would you call the Grindelwald and Voldemort?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what dictators would they be? Or what kind of, like, monsters of our past would they be? Anyway. Yeah, no, connecting it's not bad, in my opinion, because Star Wars, which we'll get to, but it seems dumb to connect them through somebody that seemed relatively insignificant all throughout the Harry Potter series.
Yeah.
In
I get
Newt.
that.
Like, his granddaughter married
overall,
Luna.
I think Newt is a fantastic character.
No, yeah, he's cool.
Really love.
He represents the Hufflepuff very well, in my opinion.
He does.
He's
like
a knight.
finally, the Hufflepuffs have some representation that didn't die.
Did a lot of Hufflepuffs
R.I.P.
die?
Cedric.
Okay, outside Cedric, did a lot of Hufflepuffs die?
No, but that's literally the only Hufflepuff you ever meet.
No, there's that dude that gets the snakes on him. What's his name? I'm blanking.
Exactly. You don't even know what you're talking about.
You know in the book his name.
No, I don't know.
He's spreading rumors about Harry being the Parseltongue.
Oh, Ernie?
Yeah, Ernie. That's what it is. See, how do you forget Ernie?
You know his
How do
name.
you forget a name like Ernie? Sesame Street.
You're stupid.
Iconic. But yeah, no, it seems
You're
dumb.
dumb.
It seems dumb to put it through the Newt, and like that might sound bad, but like even if you did it through like Theseus's perspective or something,
Sure, because
like-
he's supposed to be like a
because he's an orc.
war wizard or whatever.
Yeah, they fought in the war,
Yeah.
and Newt was like, I managed the dragons, which I think is pretty dope.
It is pretty dope. Like, I wouldn't call that like the short end of the stick.
Not for him because he gets it, but like for Theseus, that'd probably be pretty annoying.
I think for anybody, like,
or Bill.
that's the whole
Bill
point.
likes dragons.
Like, okay, he wasn't alive yet.
But no, like the Crimes of Grindelwald centers around Newt, and I get why they make it make sense at the end when it's like the blood oath that they took.
Yeah.
Like that's why he can't. But
But it's like, but why did Dumbledore choose him?
yeah, You know, there's like not. Well, he said because you don't seek power. But like, does Dumbledore really not know that many good people?
No.
Like, seriously? Like, out of all the people he knows,
I mean,
he has,
okay,
he
if
has,
we're
no,
going-
hold on.
no.
He has Flamel and he has Newt. Those are the only two.
Flamel is like what? At that point, he's already like.
He was like 300 and
No,
something.
he was older than that. He was like 600 years old.
I don't think that's correct.
Yes, it is.
That was solid. Let me tell you.
No, I'm pretty sure in the first book, he was like 600.
Nah. That's the first book.
Of Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah, I guess there's not really that big of it. Well,
Exactly, that's only like 50, 60 years.
no, hold up. I'm Googling it. How old is Nicholas Flamel? Because I think this is apparently not a very Googled question. I'm kind of surprised.
Me too.
Okay. Between 1992 and 1996, he's 665. Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. Whatever. He was born between... Literally, it says born between 1300 and 1326. All right, so you got me there. What's it called? But yeah, no, it just seems really weird to have given it to, like, such an insignificant character. Like, that's... His portrayal is insignificant because they don't talk about him in the Harry Potter series, right? You got the Skywalker legacy. Everybody knows Skywalker because Skywalker messed up the past. A Skywalker's barely managing the present, and then a Skywalker somehow manages to mess up the future.
Sure.
So, like, the through line on that is just a bunch of Sky guys, messing it up.
Sky guy.
But, like, you don't hear about Newt in the history books. You don't hear about, outside of, like, his own book, I guess. You don't hear about any of his contributions through Bathilda Backshot. Nothing. At all. So it just seems weird to have given it to him, of all people. And I get that he's a good guy, but, like, he also wanted, like... That was another weird thing. Because I feel like there was, like, a political message in Fantastic Beasts at the very end where he's like... Where he hugs Theseus after Lita dies, and he's like, I realize taking no sides is taking a side. Like, the message...
Because he's right.
That's a hard...
No,
that's
but
a
like,
gray
no,
area, man.
that's a like, that's a completely different conversation, but...
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, you could actively not do anything and not take a side. You could just be a bystander. It's possible just to watch and be impartial. It's just rare that you're so impartial that, like, it becomes a fault, I guess. That's, like, indifference.
I mean...
Or apathy.
I guess we'll probably get a feeling later on as a, like, why it was Newt type of thing. Because, like, you didn't even learn until the 7th Harry Potter book that Dumbledore knew the entire time that Harry needed to die. And, like,
Are you going to be
all
mad if
these
it's
things.
a prophecy? Are you going to be like, wow, I can't believe that they're just tying it up like that?
I mean, I don't know. Like, saying it, I'd be like, no, I'm not mad. But at the same time, like, it's kind of like a cop-out. Because it's like, you already did it in the original series that everybody knows. Like, why are you doing it again?
Poetic.
But, like, we all know that prophecies are a real thing in the wizarding world. Like, they went into that freaking room at the Ministry of Magic with
And
all of the
solved all of them.
prophecies. Like, why wouldn't there be one that involves Newt somehow and has to do with these things? So, like, if it happens, you can't argue against it.
I would honestly kind of be annoyed if it's just like
I mean,
not
like
naturally
like it would be
circulate.
annoying because it's just like a cop out, but it's also like, but you can't argue against it, like it being dumb or whatever, because it's just like it seems to be such a common thing
I would say it's
for
used,
prophecies to happen.
I would say it's used incorrectly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't invalidate it by like that doesn't make sense or like. Or no, I would say it doesn't make sense if it doesn't make sense if it's just shoehorned in. But, like, if it's utilized in the wrong way, because you could do a lot with prophecies, right?
Yeah.
The prophecy of, like, the Lestranges was pretty cool as a poem. I don't think it was dished out correctly.
It was just a little misplaced.
When Yusuf's like, I'm the brother. And it's like, no, he's the brother. And it's like, wait, who's the brother?
It's like,
and,
psych, nobody's the brother.
Right? Like, no, he's dead. That just didn't make a lot of sense to me, so... prophecies in a weird way, like the poetry thing or like the crypts, I thought were used cool or came off cool, but they were used the wrong way.
All right, well, my next big grievance with it's really just Crimes of Grindelwald because Fantastic Beasts was
You have nothing to say about Cursed Child?
Who?
Cursed Child. Did you? Who?
Listen.
For a second, I was like, is she choosing not to recognize the book, or is she?
At first, I thought you said Chris Child, and I was like, is that a director that I just don't remember?
Yeah,
or
Chris
something?
Child. He's directing the next 3 movies, not Christopher Yates.
Yeah.
Or David Yates. Man, I messed that up.
Yeah,
Christopher
like,
Columbus was who I was thinking of.
The first 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I'm just really on Crimes of Grindelwald because that's a little more fresh in my mind.
And you accept it
but
more readily.
But we'll move on to A Crimes of Grindelwald because that is something that I cannot acknowledge.
You said we'll move on to Crimes of Grindelwald.
Okay. God dang it.
You mean Cursed Child?
Cursed Child. They sound... They shouldn't start with the same letter.
Here's the thing.
But my last grievance with Crimes of Grindelwald is... Spoiler alert.
We've already said, like, almost half the spoilers.
Yeah, but this is the big spoiler. Is the whole... Credence is a Dumbledore.
Can you say it like the French lady from the Beauxbatons?
No.
Dumbledore.
No, I can't.
I can't say it either.
No. I'm not even gonna try. Yeah, that's some shit right there. Because what? No. The more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, that's dumb. And
he has Fox first.
It's not right.
That hurts my heart. Fox should always be with Dumbledore.
That's not, it just doesn't make sense. Like, there's no indication of there ever being a secret Dumbledore child of any kind. It doesn't make sense in terms of, like, the timeline. Like, it would really have to be squished on in there, and, like, in terms of, like, the Harry Potter lore. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And as someone who has read the books and, like, knows, like, most of the lore, like, the back of my hand... There's like nowhere in my mind that makes sense and that Credence could actually be a Dumbledore unless he's like some sort of distant cousin or like somebody unknown. Like there's no way that they're brothers. That's not a thing. That's not gonna be a thing. If it's like confirmed to be legitimate a thing and not just a trick that Grindelwald is pulling on Credence, then I'm out.
Transition.
And I'm gonna be out.
So this is parallels again. Choices that are either the complete opposite or mirror, right?
Yeah.
Or is a mirror the opposite? I don't necessarily think so because
I think so.
It's just okay. Fine.
I mean, when you look in the mirror, you lift up your right hand. It looks like
I guess you're right. Okay, so then decisions that mirror each other in terms of franchises, because making Credence a Dumbledore is the equivalent of Rian Johnson having Kylo say or force Rey to say, "Who are your parents?" and then she says, "No one, nobody. They're filthy junk traders."
Yeah.
Like, really, really, really pushing a legacy onto somebody and just snatching that away because how much time 2 years? We invested 2 years of, like, who's Rey? Who's her parents? Blah, blah, blah.
And then it's like, just kidding. She's not anybody important.
I was down with it. I know a lot of people hate that. They're like, nope, she's still a Kenobi, or nope, she's still a Skywalker, or some weird bloodline
like
down.
some people like my brother.
Exactly. But... I'm happy with the no legacy. I thought that was a good choice. And, like, Credence...
That is a good choice for, like, Rey's character. And it's the same thing with Credence. Like, there's no... Why does he need to be a Dumbledore? Why does he need to be any of one of significance?
Would you have been happier if he was a Lestrange?
No. Maybe it would have made a little more sense in terms of, like...
Where they were trying
where
to go.
he was and stuff and, like, his whole, like, who am I? But, like... Listen, Credence, like, I don't know who you are. You don't have a parents. Like, just deal with it. You're adopted and your life sucked. Cool. Get over it. Like,
he wasn't even adopted.
He wasn't even adopted. You were just, like, abducted or something. Your life sucked.
Do you think the house elf delivered him, though, right? No, because she delivered the fake baby. The baby that didn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I don't even know what she was. Just, they're made, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, no. So, the point of this entire show, or this episode, was comparing and contrasting. So, I need you to start meshing these, because I got lists and lists of,
okay. In terms of canon and expanding it and whatever...
Because that's what both of this is. Like, both of them...
We're using Star Wars and Harry Potter because it's the easiest to compare, and one, in my opinion, is doing better than the other, and Star Wars, I think, is doing it better.
Really?
Yes.
I'm kind of surprised by that. Or, based off Grindelwald and Cursed Child, I would agree. But, like, also, they're not putting out, like, multiple outlets, so I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, it's literally just the movies that you're getting. But, like, Star Wars is putting out books and comics and the movies and, like, TV shows.
Galaxy Edge is getting its own comic, which is
like everything. Like Star Wars is literally just hitting all the bases, but I think they're doing it better. Sort of.
Even though they have like
it's better
a minority that's pissed off and raising all kinds of hell.
That minority can suck my butt because they're just being ridiculous in their demands. Like, it just stop. But in my opinion, in my humble bro opinion, it's better. I think it's gonna continue to get better, and at least I hope. Like, if they listen to me. But who is Disney to listen to me?
But is it better because it is a collective that decides canon? And, like, Pablo Hidalgo and, like, the entire team, like, heads what decisions and, like, what is truth for that universe?
Instead of just one person being like, this is what I say, so therefore it is true now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's, like, a checks and balances.
You think so?
Yeah, because you can be like, hey, I think this should be a thing. And then they're like, okay. And it kind of has to be like, is that a good idea or is that a bad idea? If it's a good idea, send it off to the people so they can research and make sure it fits in with everything. And if it doesn't, let's tweak it so it does fit in and there's no, like, contradictory anything in the lore. Because everybody, of course, is going to go in and be like, well, this doesn't make sense because according to this book released in 1998.
Yeah, I follow Pablo Hidalgo's Twitter. I see those tweets all the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but then wild card, because Dave Filoni says that they need Cleo.
They need Cleo. Oh yeah.
Yeah. They need his permission to use Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Ahsoka's his baby.
Yeah.
And canonically, he has the
all the rights.
All the rights to her. So that's like a JK thing, right? Because he hasn't let her die in a lot of occasions.
And I'm okay with that. I'm not going to be mad about that. I love Ahsoka.
Yeah, but like checks and
totally
balances
biased.
go out the window when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But when it comes to Star Wars, I think they're doing it better because, well, I mean, okay. I think what they need to do and what I feel like they're starting to do, as long as they don't mess it up with this last movie in the trilogy, is to just get away from the Skywalker family. Because why does it need to be just this one family? Well, like, what's so important about them?
Because Anakin was Jesus.
Was a Force baby, yes, Emperor. We know.
No, not even just a Force baby. He was born of the devil. He was supposedly made. Oh.
Hello?
All right. Sorry about that. Daisy had a problem on her work front. And if you hear that weird noise, it is...
Our dog.
Again. Crying for our attention. But yeah. So, next point.
Next point.
What's your next point? You had them written down.
For Star Wars?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
You're going down your list.
Yes. Well, I said that it should move beyond the Skywalker family point, because it needs to. They're not that important at this point, and I think they're moving that way because Rey, like I said, as long as they don't mess it up with this last movie, isn't anybody of, like, significance in terms of, like, the galaxy, so they're moving towards, like, other people can have the Force, and, like, it doesn't just have to be the Skywalkers that are significant.
Unless Rey's, you know, a Kenobi.
I'm gonna fight if that's what happens, honestly. But really, my other point ties into both, like, Harry Potter and Star Wars, where there's, like, a lot of potential.
So do you want, like, expanding in the sense that it's, like, they're going to give us characters we've never met before? Or
yes.
Do you want expanding in legacy, I guess?
I guess both. Because with Harry Potter with Fantastic Beasts, because that's kind of all we really have to go off of, it's doing
both.
What Star Wars can, where it can move in a different direction. It can move backwards in time and give you a story that you kind of know about, but you don't really know anything of. It's just an execution so far that Harry Potter, I think, isn't doing it as well. Because, like, of all the reasons I said before. With Star Wars, it has all that old canon that Disney did away with,
but
that they can still draw back to, and I definitely think there's more potential with, like, the Old Republic stuff, and, like, where did the Jedi come from, and where did the Sith, and, like, the Rule of Two, and, like, all this stuff. Like, there's a lot that they can do that has nothing to do with these characters that you already know, but can still be interesting. Like, everyone shits on the prequels, which I get.
No, only Attack is bad.
Okay. But everybody, like, talks down on the prequels and, like, sure, okay, whatever. But it did give you a different perspective. Like, it gave you...
all of the Jedi.
It gave you all of the Jedi. It gave you what Luke talked about in the original trilogy about, like, there once was, like, these, like, all-powerful Jedi. There was so many of them. It must have been an amazing time and, like, all this stuff. And you got to see that.
And you heard about the Clone Wars.
Exactly. Like, you got that in, like, the series Clone Wars, which is amazing.
The acceptable Clone Wars.
The acceptable Clone Wars.
You got Ahsoka through that, so.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she's amazing, and I love her. So there's, like, a lot of potential in Star Wars that they haven't tapped into yet that I definitely think they can go with. And as long as they're doing their storytelling right, like, they got it 100%, and I will give them all my money. And, like, the same thing with Harry Potter. Like, they could give us movies with, like, the founders of Hogwarts and, like, how it came to be.
That?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm, like, all about the origin stories, man.
What
That's,
kind
like,
of
my
adversity
thing.
do you... I feel like that's almost like Game of Thrones, where it's like...
Well, like, how the hell did Salazar Slytherin put in the Chamber of Secrets and nobody noticed that there was a giant
That's what I'm talking about.
basilisk?
Like, it'd be like Game of Thrones, where it's like they're all vying... Well, maybe not all of them are vying for power, but it's definitely...
But it's happening, yeah. Like, a power struggle.
We definitely believe that it's Gryffindor versus
Like, you get that.
Slytherin.
You can get, like, all of the ghosts. Like, Nearly Headless Nick and,
That'd be cool off
what's
as,
her
like...
name?
The Grey Lady?
Yes, the Grey Lady.
The Bloody
Her
Baron.
actual name.
Oh, it's a Ravenclaw.
Yeah, I know she's a Raven.
No. Yeah, no, it's Helena because Rowena is her mother.
Helena Ravenclaw. Like, you could get how
Wow,
she
big fan.
died and how it was the Bloody Baron's fault. And, like, all this sides, like, you got that in the books, but, like, to see that and to see that history would be, like, such a cool thing. Like, even if it was, like, not a, like, multi-movie series, like, even if it just was, like,
would you rather just,
something
like...
on YouTube or something. Like, that would be really cool to see. And then they're, like, the potential is there. They're just not doing it. And, like, it's the same thing with Star Wars. Like, the potential is there, but they're not there yet. And I think they should be.
Because Warner Bros. Is getting their own streaming service.
Yeah.
So they could do a limited series like that.
Yeah.
But do you think JK would allow something like that? Do you think that, like, be real, do you think that she has a little bit of, like, delusions of grandeur in terms of the fact, like, she's like, no, these deserve to be, like, crazy, expensive
Extravagant
films.
things, yes.
And not like a hour and a half series of like 8 episodes.
Yeah.
And it ends with like Salazar closing the chamber or like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I get it because it's her baby. Like,
man, you gotta let that go, though.
It was her first like book that she ever wrote, and it just exploded. Like, I understand where it's coming from, but yeah, she needs to take a step back and like be like, get some criticism maybe from somebody else, or have someone else read it and be like, you know what, maybe let's not do that or something.
Professional criticism, not Twitter.
Yeah, not Twitter.
Up.
Not Twitter being a butthole like it always is. But yeah, I think it would be cool to see, because it's just like, there's just so much history in it, and like as a Harry Potter nut, like I'd love to see it.
Do you think there can be a future? Realistically?
Well, now that you bring up the future, let's talk about the cursed child.
No.
That was the future in the wrong way. Like, maybe if they did the future like way later on, and it had nothing to do with Harry Potter, where it was kind of just
was that the same year that the 17 years later was? At the end of Deathly Hallows, the epilogue that's 17 years later, was that
19.
Whatever. Yeah, 19 years later. Was it the same?
Where the epilogue ended, that's where the cursed child picked up, essentially.
Right after Ron's like, none of y'all befriend little Scorpius.
Yes.
Or I'll disown you.
Yes.
The first thing...
Yep. The first thing he does is befriend him, because he was put into Slytherin.
Okay. Way to disobey Uncle Ron.
Yeah, right? So, that is how you do it in the wrong way. But that's also like...
But she collaborated.
No, she didn't.
But, well, she gave her power up, right? She was like...
She let somebody else write it, and they did their own thing with it, and she was like, okay, make it a thing, do your thing, and then it just went horribly wrong. So, like,
did she not check it?
I don't know.
She just said anything?
I mean, I'm not her friend. I can't be like, hey, JK, did you, like, actually read that before
but
you were like,
follow,
yeah, it's fine.
her interviews and anything like that? She said anything?
She doesn't talk about it.
So it's like Rick Riordan with the Percy Jackson movie.
I 100% am, like, okay with it.
Like,
I too would be like, yeah, we're not going to talk about that, because we don't talk about that.
Right.
Like, as a Harry Potter fandom, we do not talk about the cursed child. But that was the only time she, like, fully relinquished her power over it, and, like, everything she believed, and it just completely came back.
Do you think she cannot collaborate?
I don't.
It's been a long...
She hasn't.
Yeah, but, like, let's be real. If she had collaborated as opposed to letting fans run the cursed child, probably would have been better than the time travel hijinks.
Yeah, like if she had been in the room and been like, hey, actually, you can't do the time turner thing because they're only supposed to go 3 hours back, and it doesn't make sense if you're like, oh, there's one that can do any freaking time.
Or the Bellatrix.
Because it ruins everything I already wrote.
Love child that made no sense.
And how he...
You think Voldemort was sitting with Nagini?
You know how I know the FBI is listening to me? Because ever since I, like, talked about how much I hate that book, so many videos have popped up on YouTube of, like, Voldemort's daughter, explain. It's like, no, you don't need to explain it to me. It doesn't exist.
It's because you keep screaming it. It's just like, oh, you really love this movie.
No, I don't.
Book, sorry.
I don't love it.
Yeah, you think he was just sitting back, just killed some muggles, or just killed the muggle teacher?
Listen, there's a lot of reason why the cursed child doesn't make sense, and that can be its own separate podcast of me just ranting.
And Bellatrix gives him a look.
No, it's not. Let's move on to Star Wars, because we've talked about Harry Potter for a really long time.
You have a lot to say about Harry Potter.
I do have a lot to say.
Okay, so in my opinion...
But we're going too far, and I've talked a lot, so you do things.
You have a lot of passion, man. I'm here just to direct it.
I have so many passions.
Where do you want me to start? Give me...
I
Okay,
don't know.
you gotta shoot off questions for me, because I've been...
Well, you're the Star Wars fanatic out of the both of us, so, like, what do you think of what they're doing with the trilogy now that it's in its final phase, and where they can go for the future? Because nothing's planned.
They have...
Like, in terms of, like, a new trilogy, it's just...
Yeah, there is.
No, there's not?
Yes, there is.
That's continuing?
No, not... no. I thought you meant, like...
The main story.
I thought you meant trilogies, like, in general.
No, not in general. I know that they have things planned for, like, certain directors to do their own trilogies, but not, like, in this main storyline.
About, like, the continuation of the saga.
There's no, like, continuation of, like, the stories we know now. It's all, like, they're, like, standalones or trilogies that they're giving their directors that they like.
Yeah, you say that, but I haven't heard anything about the Rian Johnson trilogy since after The Last Jedi.
Because he should get his own trilogy. Because The Last Jedi is good, and everyone can suck my butt. Here's
the thing. I've heard so many people, like... I've heard so many people say he doesn't get it, and it bugs me to no end, because how does he not get it? It doesn't make sense for me that people are like, he doesn't get it. No, Luke 100% would do the things he did. You can only get shat on so many times before you're like, all right, I'm out. Like, it's not his fault. No one gave crap for what's it called? For Han.
Redoing everything?
Well, not redoing, because I agree you needed to. I'm just not big on it. Yeah. But nobody gave him crap for divorcing Han and Leia, for having them both fall back into
their old ways.
Their old ways of politics and resistance, or smuggling,
and just not being involved.
I would say being irresponsible, to be honest, but sure.
I mean, yeah.
He got hunted down by Balatik and Kasu Leech at the end, or in the end of his smuggling career.
Yeah.
So still pretty much not doing what he's supposed to, no matter how you slice it. But I get it. You know, you needed to remind people what Star Wars was and give a bigger Death Star and whatever. That was good. Rian Johnson, I appreciate the extremities he did. I don't think everyone else was ready for it. Because, you know, there were jokes where it's like, can you imagine, where it's just like, Luke looks at lightsaber and he's like, I don't need this, and just throws it. Like, and like, when it happens, and like the theater gasped. Remember? Like,
I laughed. I mean, maybe we have different memories, but we were in the same theater, and I feel like everybody I heard was laughing.
I heard the gasps, or like there was one dude that was like, what the hell? And it was like,
I did not hear that.
No, I was so, because like, you know, the theater experience is so like my favorite experience.
Yeah, but especially with Star Wars, like, it's
so nice to see, like, and hear fans and whatever, assuming that it goes the way you want it to go. Yeah. But yeah, that was crazy, because I heard gasps, I heard what the hell, I heard the laughs, right? Because how could you not?
I heard literally nothing but laughter when that happened. I laughed because I was like, oh my god, he really did it.
Yeah, and you know, I just think he went too extreme for what we were served first. He went from like a nice,
like, J.J. Abrams was like lighthearted and like, oh, this is the Star Wars you remember, and then Rian Johnson kind of came in and was like, this is Star Wars I'm gonna give you.
Yeah, exactly. It was like completely different approaches.
Yeah.
But I appreciated it a lot.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of complaints from podcasts I've listened to that are just like, he doesn't get it, or Rian Johnson didn't get it, and I think that's BS.
I mean, as someone who didn't even watch any of the Star Wars movies until I was like, what, 18?
No, when we started 17.
I
would not let you last an entire year of us dating without being like, okay, we need to watch this.
Fun fact, I didn't watch Star Wars until me and Jorge started dating. And we started dating when I was 16, and we're 23 now. So I've only been a Star Wars fan for the 6 years we've been dating. So, but I'm wholeheartedly in it. But as somebody who didn't even watch any of them until I was 17 years old, I think I didn't grow up with it. I didn't like have a preconceived notion of what it's supposed to be like. But seeing The Last Jedi, it made sense to me as an outsider, as you can say. Like, I like the prequels. I enjoyed them. I don't think they're as bad as everybody thinks they are.
It's because you're in love with Hayden Christensen.
I am in love with Hayden Christensen. I met him, and it was the best day of my life.
You couldn't even talk.
Aside from our wedding, so. But overall, it made sense. I think everybody being against Rian Johnson and like his interpretation of how Luke should be was ridiculous, because you already knew the Jedi didn't exist. You grew up, normal life, learned that you are a Jedi, and you're like, holy crap,
not even
what?
Normal life. You lived on the outskirts.
You lived in the friggin' water farm, essentially. And then you learn that your dad is literally the most evil person in the galaxy, essentially. And then you defeat him. He sacrifices himself for you. Whatever way you want to put it. Regardless, your dad dies after you barely learned that he was your dad.
There were some years. There was like 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years. But like in the time of his life, that's a relatively small time to know who your dad is. And he didn't even get to know his dad until Return of the Jedi.
When they had that conversation.
And that was like, what? Probably a day or two?
Probably a day.
Well,
yeah, because the transition from the Ewoks at that
like
nighttime.
Knowing that Vader is your dad for like 2 years and then actually getting to know him and being like, hey, I know you're a good guy because like Obi-Wan said that my dad was a Jedi and you're my dad and you're a Jedi, so like therefore you're a good person.
So here's where my problems with current canon comes is like they're barely getting to Hoth. Or like not Hoth. They're barely getting Empire, sorry.
Oh, if we're gonna talk comics, I love what the comics are doing.
No, but like it bugs me that the books and the comics, basically everything is surrounding A New Hope or before A New Hope. I do like right now there's a comic book series out, it's the Age of the Republic, and they're going through icons. So they did Jango Fett, Mace Windu, they're gonna do Grievous, like they're going through all that.
Yeah.
And that's dope. I can get down with that. But it bugs me to no end that the Star Wars mainline that's been going on for like about 50 issues now, has not.
Didn't that start like right
after The Force Awakens?
Yeah.
Like right when there was that huge boom of canon.
Yeah.
You had the before the Force Awakens stuff release, which was good, but the only thing that took place after A New Hope, out of like the 7 or 8 books that got released the same year as Force Awakens, you had Aftermath, which took place after Return.
Yeah.
Cool. Because that's the time period we want to learn about.
It is a good trilogy. Have not read it yet.
The first one's garbage, but the following 2 really good, very strong. The one with Han and Chewie that focuses on their story made me cry.
Okay.
Because best buds for life. But you had that. And that was the only thing. You've had Bloodline with Leia also takes place after.
Yeah.
Phasma takes place after, and it
you
takes
get
place.
Some of the comic. There was like that one comic.
Oh, Shattered Empire.
Yeah, that was like.
But that was like immediate.
4 or 5 issues. That was immediately after Return.
Where Luke goes and gets Force trees, which we haven't heard or seen of. But I guess I don't think. Okay, no, hold up. But I don't think he planted that on Octu, because I think he found Octu and then he was like, I'm staying here. And
he was like, this is my home now.
And he gave one to Poe's mom.
Yeah.
So
you meet her and you know Poe's already been born.
So you know he at least kept a Force tree. Maybe that was his cane. That'd be interesting.
Maybe.
But you haven't seen anything on the middle between Empire and A New Hope, and you haven't seen anything between Empire and Return, which bugs me because like all the questions I want answers to is where did he get his kyber crystal? How did he make his lightsaber? How did he come to the
lightsaber? And how did he deal with the fact that like Vader just said, "I'm your dad," and you're like, "Holy crap, Vader's my dad." What? And then he comes back in Return just totally calm, cool, and collected.
Well, he says Anakin too, and I don't believe Obi-Wan says.
Well, he said.
No, he said your father was a pupil, or your father was killed by a pupil of mine. He never says Anakin in A New Hope, and then he dies.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I already know that.
And in
just like assume.
Maybe in Empire he says your father was Anakin, or no, I think he just sits down on the freaking tree stump and he's like, your father was seduced by the dark side. Blah blah blah. I'm like 90% sure he never says.
Well, I guess that means we're just gonna have to rewatch them.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, well.
So it bugs me like.
Besides the canon, like comics and stuff that is expanding on all the Star Wars you do know about, what about these standalone movies like Rogue One and Solo?
I enjoyed Solo. I get that there was a lot of bad press around it between the disagreements of Kathleen Kennedy and Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Mm-hmm. I get it. You know, they've made good films. They made Spider-Verse, you know, so they can make good stuff. They made the Lego movie. And, but I enjoyed it. When Maul showed up, the lightsaber turning on was unnecessary, but I get why they did it for the audience, where it was like, hey, y'all remember him? He got cut in half.
Oh my god.
But he's alive.
But that brings up a good point, because if you're somebody who isn't as big of Star Wars fans as like you are, because I don't read all of the comics, I just read ones you recommend to me, because you know that I like them.
You like Vader?
Yes. Ooh boy, I love Vader and Anakin. They're my top notch. But you read basically all the canon that comes out, whether it's like comics or books. You basically have your hands on all of them, so you know, and like you know everything that happened to Maul. Like
his
and
entire
you know his
history.
entire story and all of that, like everything. But if you only watch the movies, if you're like a casual fan of Star Wars, which I feel like is hard to be, because I feel like there is either you are super in this or you really only know the very basics.
Which are like a lot of my coworkers.
Or a lot of my brothers.
Yeah.
They only watch the movies.
So if you didn't watch the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Didn't like the Ewoks.
They're a little weird. But if you only watch the movies, you know that at the end of Phantom Menace, he gets cut in half. If you don't,
dies.
and dies. And if you've never seen the Clone Wars, if you've never seen Star Wars Rebels, you don't know any of that. And then he just shows up in Solo. That's kind of a like, what?
So,
where did he come from?
Is this question like?
So like,
are they handling it bad in the sense that they force you to consume?
Yes. Like, they're basically, like, if you want to know the full story and understand where the hell these people are coming from and why they're back and all of their crap, you have to read all this insider stuff or else you're kind of going to be lost. Because, like you said, the average moviegoer is your mom.
Right.
She doesn't know. She also knows Star Wars. Like, she's a Star Wars fan.
But she's not.
But if you were to show her Solo, and I think she saw it, didn't she?
I don't know, actually.
She might have. It's on Netflix now, so she
My
should
dad
see
hasn't
it.
seen Solo either, but he...
Yeah, and your dad, like, he only knows... He loves Star Wars. Like, that's where you get your love from, so...
Yeah.
Your dad knows Star Wars, but he doesn't watch Clone Wars. He doesn't watch Rebels. Like, he's not invested in it like you are. So, like, if he was to watch Solo and see Darth Maul, he would be like, where the hell did he come from? Ooh. So, like, is it bad in terms of, like, you really need to invest if you're going to invest? Or...
Daddy Dearest also did not like The Last Jedi. Breaks my heart.
Your dad's a butthole. But, like, Harry Potter, it's obviously the books, but, like, you can get by watching just the movies and getting by just watching Fantastic Beasts, like...
Yeah, because that's all there is.
That's enough.
That's like the
for there to be for you. Like, there's these books that you can read to get more in depth of what you already know, but, like, essentially that's it. But for Star Wars, there's so much more that you need to know.
So we got YouTube with they're teaching the new generation the iconic moments, right?
Yeah.
And then you have...
and then you have the basic movies, you have the books, you have the comics.
Well, no, because the extended shorts are also canon, right? So... Leia uses, like, Luke's green lightsaber at some point on whatever. You have Santa Starros.
There's a lot.
Yeah, so you have 2 YouTube things. You've got books. You've got comics.
You have TV shows.
TV shows, movies. Am I blanking? And games now.
And
because Battlefront 2...
with the Inferno Squadron is canon, too. So there's 7 mediums that you need to know about to know all things that are Star Wars. So, like, is that...
It's a good time to be a Star Wars fan for me.
It's a good time to be a Star Wars fan, but if you're just a casual fan, is that, like, spreading yourself too thin?
That's such a good question. And, like, in my mind, no. Because I believe toy sales for Star Wars is down. So what they're banking on is... Clea, what's the matter? She's just kind of sitting, guys. If I'll paint a picture.
Whining.
Yeah, she literally was just like sleeping, and then she just came and sat on the floor, and I don't know. I guess I'll vamp for a moment on the question. So in my opinion, it's not bad because if I'm correct, toy sales are down. So the best way to utilize or optimize sale is to press for Netflix viewings with the Clone Wars or TV shows being bought through DVD, what have you. There's just, with 7 different mediums, and let's face it, just based off of, I gotta remember or like figure out what the shorts are called, because it's gonna bug me to no end. Let's see, the Star Wars female animated whatever shorts. What's it called? Anime shorts. Whoa. Forces of Destiny, that's what it's called. Okay, so with Forces of Destiny, Lucasfilm obviously makes automatic money because of viewer count. With books, that's for like second level nerds. Or maybe comics. I would imagine that comics are an easier medium to consume than books, because let's face it, who doesn't like illustrations and pictures, and like it's better to consume and easier to consume and swallow, in my opinion.
Comics?
Yeah.
Over books?
Over books.
I agree.
So, what, YouTube?
Not that I think the books most of them aren't that long, but it still is. For me, anyways, it was kind of a tough read for some of the books.
Yeah, I get
that.
So
comics is a little easier.
It's pictures, man. I love pictures. I don't like.
You can just flip through it in like 5 minutes.
No criticisms. Okay, so I guess in order, YouTube, animated shows would be tied for easiest. Comics, then books, or comics, then games. What do you think's bought more? Do you think Battlefront 2 was bought more, or do you think comics and then like books are bought more?
Probably Battlefront, because everybody wants to play a Star Wars game.
Yeah, but
you have to like be invested to want to read comics.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Okay, so then we'll go video game, books, and movies are obviously like the penultimate.
Yeah. Because everyone can watch a Star Wars movie.
Everyone can go to a theater and watch a Star Wars movie. I would say it's a good time to be a fan and a good time to get into it. I don't think for somebody that's like the average person, like my mom or dad, they're never gonna play a Star Wars game. They're never gonna. What else is there? They're never gonna read a comic. They're never gonna read the books.
Yeah.
They're just gonna.
It's just gonna be what you tell them.
I'd be lucky to get them to watch the animated shorts. They'd probably be like, "This is stupid." Mom doesn't even recognize Spider-Verse as a film. She's just like, it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
So that's a little wild in my opinion, but whatever.
Yeah, and I think it would also be hard to get your dad to watch something like the Clone Wars.
Maybe
or
with
Rebels.
like Emery, with my niece. If she watched it, I think he'd be down. Because it's Star Wars.
But she'd have to want to like it.
Yeah, that's true.
And she's really into Jurassic Park right now, not Star Wars.
She's going through a phase. I got her into Jurassic Park.
We got her into dinosaurs. Now we're trying to get her into space lizards.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's good planning on Lucasfilm's part. I don't think there's any way you can really direct them to, like, at the end of Solo, it's not like, and for more Maul history, go to Star Wars Rebels or go to whatever. I think if you Google it and you're like, what is this? Maybe, but that's really all I got. I can't imagine people see it or watch a film and they're like, all right, gonna deep dive. Or like, if you do, maybe you're looking for a fandom to fall into because whatever you're watching or consume has finished. Yeah. You know, like that's just how it is sometimes.
That's the only reason I got into Star Wars was because Harry Potter was done and over, and there is no. You literally came in at
the most opportune time too, because like
I really did. Like I came in at a good time. Like both of my fandoms, like maybe Fantastic Beasts isn't doing too hot, but like hey, I'll take any Harry Potter resurgence I can take.
What was it? The year it was 2013 we started dating, right? Or 2012? 12, and then 2013 I believe. Disney bought Lucasfilm. Yeah. Then 2014, Force Awakens was announced. And then
basically, essentially, since we started dating, Star Wars was in its comeback stages. Yeah. So I've really been here for
the resurgence,
all the hype, and which is a good time because if all I had was the originals and the prequels to go off of, and like the Legends, it'd be a little lame. And also Legends is very confusing, so I'm glad they did away with it.
I agree. I used to have a dictionary on it and I was like, there's so many conflicting storylines.
So good job Disney on being like, you know what, forget all that, only the movies matter now and whatever we say.
So in two companies or two properties that seem to be going in opposite directions always, it blows my mind a little bit, but who do you think will last longer? Can you ever imagine JK, like, even if she, like, passes away and, like, knock on wood for that, but, like, or knock on that wood for that, we are all gonna die, let's face it. Mortality is a thing. But, like, do you think in her will or whatever she'll leave it to, like, somebody? Do you think she'll give someone the rights? I can't imagine that, you know?
No.
It's like Carrie Fisher with her brother, like, her brother has the rights to them using, like, her likenesses. Or, like, the family does, but, like, he's heading it, right? Because recently he said like it'll be a great Leia that's in episode 9 because they have to consult with him like what's okay.
Right now as she is, I don't think so. Because of the reasons you said, like it's her baby, like it is her thing, like she is end all be all of canon in terms of Harry Potter, which it is cool. Because she does, like, she is Harry Potter. Like, she created this world, and like when you watch her interviews that she's done, like one of the special features for Deathly Hallows Part 2, the DVD, is she had an hour and a half long, maybe 2, I don't know, because I watched all of it and it felt like 5 minutes.
That's just because you were like glued to your seat. Like,
I was really into it, yeah. But she had like a really long, in-depth conversation with Daniel Radcliffe about
Harry?
It was just about Harry Potter, the entire thing. Like, it wasn't even about Harry specifically, it was about the entire world. And
how strange to find the embodiment of your character
talking to you about your characters.
Yeah, that's a little meta. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I definitely cried when I watched it because it was just so beautiful. Hearing them both talk about it, because Daniel Radcliffe is just so
into it as
yeah,
well.
Like, he's just so grateful to have been able to be Harry Potter and like for the experience, which is really awesome, like, for an actor.
Yeah.
Like, thank goodness you don't resent him. Like, you don't resent being Harry
like,
Potter.
Some people, they get typecasted.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's not like bitter about it or anything. So,
Mm-hmm.
but like that special or bonus feature or whatever, it was like just her and him talking about Harry Potter and like how she came up with it and just
how it saved her life.
Yeah, just all these things, and it was like really amazing and beautiful. But like the main thing that you get from it was that she obviously created Harry Potter himself, like the character, and then just from that it just an explosion, like how the Big Bang essentially created the universe. That's how it was Harry, and then just the entire universe.
I subscribe to the Force making the universe.
Whatever, you know what I mean. It was just Harry was there, it was created, and then it was just this entire world that she made. So it's great that she has all the say because she knows the history. Like, it is like if you as a person were to study world history and you were just this history buff and you knew everything about the world, like,
full disclaimer, I'm not. I'm terrible.
You're not.
At it.
And it's okay. But if you were, like, you just deep dived into the world history, you just knew everything, like, or just like one event like World War II. Like, if you just really deep dive, you knew everything about World War II. That is J.K. Rowling with this universe, and that's great because like you want someone who knows everything,
but
like,
it leads you to have this god complex.
Yes.
And then you smite all of them with a death curse. No, I'm just kidding. Like the Thanos snapping.
Yes, like just revealing randomly one day that, you know,
their shit's transport somewhere.
Poop and then make it disappear, and
you think it
it
landed
goes
in their
nowhere.
robes? You think it landed in their trousers?
I don't know, but I really...
And girls wore skirts.
Yeah, I hope it went somewhere like...
Where'd they pee?
That wasn't disgusting.
How do you make pee disappear?
That's a good question, because she really only acknowledged the poop.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean,
you think
it's...
They did the bucket thing?
It's a double-edged sword when it comes to Harry Potter, because it's great
I think it's a double-edged sword when it comes to any franchise, where it's
yeah,
just like...
because it's great that she knows all of these things, but it's also like, when is it too far? And I think we're kind of starting to reach it, and I think everybody is acknowledging that we're reaching, like, you've gone too far, please stop. Which is really hard to say as a giant Harry Potter fan, because, like, of course I want nothing but more, but at the same time it's like, I'm okay with Fantastic Beasts because we're going based off history that I already knew a little bit from
it's not just,
the original books.
She's not just spouting out randomness.
Yeah.
There's details.
There's details that you already knew about, and she's just expanding on that.
There's also details of just pure randomness, though.
There is pure randomness. But it's better than if we were to go forward like The Cursed Child, where it's just a bunch of nonsense about the future, and it's like, I'm not going to accept that as reality.
What I'm gathering here is that not Harry Potter should end, but it's better off living in past events.
Yes.
Especially given JK's...
It's better in the past, whereas Star Wars, I think, has a better future.
Right.
Like, going forward from where we are in this point in time.
I do think that Star Wars also nails something that Harry Potter hasn't quite yet, in that, you know, how Star Wars is circular. Like, you've seen GIFs where it's like shots are almost like repetitions of other shots.
Yeah.
Like Kylo storming Crate with the flame troopers at his back. It looks completely reminiscent of Anakin storming the Jedi Temple with the clones behind him.
Yeah.
So, like, I think like the circular nature of that kind of makes it easier for Star Wars to hit either a past or a future.
Yeah, I just think
But that hasn't necessarily been established for Harry Potter.
Yeah, in terms of like both fandoms, I think Star Wars has the most potential to continue going on. And if that means that after Fantastic Beasts, Harry Potter is over forever, then I can accept that, and I'm okay with it.
You just don't want to see it dragged.
I don't want to see it be supernatural and just beating a dead horse.
Seasons.
Yeah, exactly. Supernatural's gone on too far, and they need to stop. I don't want to see it be that. I want it to live forever as this beautiful thing that I've always loved and
hit its peaks and be content.
Exactly. Like, just it was what it was. It was brilliant and it was great for the time, and just let it rest. It's dead now, and that's okay.
And 30 years they'll reboot it, or they'll
sure, like
the second coming of Daniel Radcliffe.
I will be a tiny little old lady, and I'm gonna go through the theaters.
You'll be 50. You'll be fine.
50. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, that's not that old. By then, humans will live to be like 200 years old. It's fine.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Here's hoping. We'll have
but Star Wars has the most potential out of both franchises, and both have their like hits and misses in terms of everything.
Which do you think is more likely to alienate fans? Or not fans, but alienate newcomers?
Definitely Harry Potter.
Out of Star Wars?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Just because I feel like if you weren't there from the beginning, since it is more recent than Harry Potter was, or since Star Wars was, then it's like when Harry Potter came out, we were
with like the grow up factor?
Yeah, we grew up with it, and kids now can read the entire series in like a month, and they don't.
It doesn't feel the same.
They didn't have to wait a year or 2 years or whatever for a movie or a book and be like, oh yeah, I am also 13 like Harry is right now, and grow up with him.
That's interesting. I feel like
but in terms of Star Wars, like, not that there isn't growth like with Luke or anything, especially in the original trilogy, but it's not the same as growing up with Harry, you know? So it's like, if you weren't there from the beginning, it's a little harder to get into, and it's a little harder to like get. And if you talk to to fans that have been there from the beginning with Harry Potter, they're like, it's kind of an elitist thing. It's kind of like, well, I grew up with Harry, so shut the fuck up because you don't know what you're talking about.
There's your third. No, I completely disagree with that.
Really?
The toxicity of Star Wars right now, Kelly Marie Tran deleted her Twitter and Instagram.
Oh, and Daisy
Ridley got off. No. I'm not going to drop the F-bomb on that. But I probably it almost came out. But no, there is such an elitist nature, and there's such like you've only seen like the special.
I mean, I think there is with Star Wars, like, you definitely see it like all the time.
The minority of people that hate it is so much louder than the majority that like enjoy it.
I don't know, I think it's just like, from my perspective and my experiences with Star Wars, it just seems so much more open. Like, yeah, I know people hate the prequels and
hate the sequels.
Hate
the Disney era.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are just like, the only good ones are the original trilogy, but like, from my perspective, I've never felt attacked for liking the prequels or liking the new Disney era of Star Wars.
It disappoints me that you were not there when I took my mom to see The Last Jedi, and I got attacked by the barista at Starbucks.
Yeah, like, I've never had to experience that.
That was the first.
And it's not like I don't openly display my fandoms. Like, I have a Darth Vader tattoo. Like, It's right there. It's on my leg. Like, it's very visible.
Mine was...
People can talk to me about it, and I will gladly tell people, like, The Last Jedi was a good movie. Like, you can suck my butt if you think otherwise.
Mine was literally my lightsaber on my hip, because I still had my Graflex at the time.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, that's cool. Like, yeah, man, just broke in the movie, blah, blah, blah. I asked if he had seen it, because he was like, yeah, I'm a big fan. And I asked, don't want to spoil things. And he was like, yeah, I hated it. And I was like, wow, man, I can't disagree more. I thought it was great. I thought, like, everything was fantastic. I loved all the directions it took, blah, blah. Respectful, right? Because I've obviously, being part of, like, lightsaber groups and stuff like that, I see when people are like, it's garbage, and, like, go crazy. And don't need that happening in the real world. Nah, man, he had to, his manager was like, go sit down outside, or like, you gotta cool it. Because he was about to start screaming in Starbucks. And it's not like they were packed because it was like 30 degrees outside or like 20 degrees, which is a big deal for Texas, so don't like come at us. But like...
Yeah, we live in the South. We don't know what cold is.
Right? So, that was crazy for me to actually experience. And because of that, and like also, I feel like when you look at Star Wars and you hear like real in there fans, if you hear the weird words, our dog is under the desk, and I think she just wants our attention.
She just wants us to go in bed and cuddle. Like,
yeah,
she's tired of this. She
strange.
wants to go to sleep.
She's like a baby. But I think looking at the two fandoms, a really good analogy I could give you is that for Harry Potter is cake. It's a 3-layer cake. You have Fantastic Beasts, you have Harry Potter, and then you have the books. Mm-hmm. We just said there's 7 mediums for Star Wars, meaning that's 7 layers of cake. What are you more likely to try?
That's a 7-layer dip.
Yeah, what are you more likely to try and consume? Because even if you try and dip your little chip into that 7-layer dip, you're not gonna get all things. You'd have to like shove your like fist
You have to ruin that dip
with your hand to just touch all bases.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but it's just like, because we went to Celebration when it was in Orlando. We're gonna go when it's in April in Chicago this year.
Did it feel more inclusive to you?
It did.
Well, I guess there's LeakyCon, but like that sells out like instantly, which is weird. I feel like that's.
I also don't think LeakyCon is like a legitimate thing because it's not sponsored by Warner Brothers or anything. It's not like they're given the okay to throw it, but it's not licensed by the company that
so it's
makes
not
Harry
like, yeah, okay.
It's
so
not a legitimate convention for Harry Potter. It's just fans got together. They did
like
this
the Quidditch League in Florida.
Yeah, it's a thing, but it's not a real thing. It's not like
it's not official.
Yes, it's not official. But when we went to Celebration, like I saw plenty of people cosplaying as like Anakin and Obi-Wan and Padme from the prequels, and like
it was a safer space.
It was a safer space, or at least like people had the dignity to not be like, that's garbage.
Right.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just my experience with it, and I just haven't made my opinion known enough
Every time you
that
and
I
Lauren
like it.
said that, people were like, "What lightsaber is that?" That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, you fuckers.
Yeah.
Oh man, I dropped.
At some point, or not even some point.
It was frequently. Y'all got asked like.
It was frequently because at the time Jorge had multiple lightsabers of his own, and he was carrying them around the convention. And you know, I wasn't cosplaying every single day we were there, so I wanted to feel included. So I took one of his lightsabers and
wear them on the hip and represent.
Yeah, exactly. I wore them around, and I think you were. What were you in line for?
I was meeting somebody or
Sam Witwer. No, because we met him together. No, I think it was when you were getting his autograph because we weren't there for that. We were waiting for the picture.
Y'all walked around, and then probably also when I was in line for the store.
Yeah, probably.
I think we separated at that point, or I was getting art.
At some point, Jorge separated on his own. It was me and our friend Lauren, who is also a big Star Wars fan. She's
what I consider the casual Star Wars fan.
Yeah, she just watches the movies. She doesn't really know anything else.
I gave her some books. I don't know if she's actually read them.
I don't know either. But we went off on our own and walked around the convention, and nerdy culture as like in general is just not as kind to women. Not yet. So we are relatively attractive women walking around a Star Wars convention by ourselves. So you wouldn't really assume that we were there of our own accord, and because we genuinely like Star Wars, you would assume like somebody dragged us there. Because that's just,
the general assumption.
That's the assumption.
Unless you're in a costume.
Yeah, unless we're in a costume, which we weren't that day. We were just in our regular like Star Wars t-shirts.
Not then you're a cosplay thought.
Yeah, no, not that day. I only took one cosplay that weekend, which was a mistake on my part, but whatever. But we were just wearing our Star Wars t-shirts and like jeans or whatever. And I had like my...
You had the Graphics, right? Or did Lauren have the Graphics?
No, I think I had it. But I was just walking around with it on our hip, and we were just looking around the booths, and like we got stopped multiple times and asked like, what saber is that? What's it from? Like all these questions. And it's like, dude, I don't need to prove to you that I know what I'm talking about. Like I know what I'm talking about.
But y'all did, y'all.
And as soon as I was like, yeah, it's a Graflex, like, it's from, like, this company, whatever, they were like, oh, okay, and then just, like, stopped bothering me. And it was just, like, as soon as I proved my worth of, like, I know what I'm talking about, was it like, you're fine to be on your own.
That bugged me.
Yeah. Because
there were some people in the Sam Witwer line that had converted, like, master replicas and stuff like that, and, like, the conversation was cool to have with them, where it's like, oh, what do you have in yours? Like, what's the sound module? What's this and that? You know, what'd you do? What didn't you do? And that was cool. But then, I guess it hadn't occurred to me that other people would have modded lightsabers or Vader's Vault or Saberforge or whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not Vader's Vault, but Saberforge for sure. And then when y'all told me that, I was like, it's so strange. It was like to hear that y'all would get quizzed over something like that. Like something, I think that's trivial. If you had like books or something or comics or like legend stuff, and like someone was like, that's not canon anymore. Like I could see that more than like
over my lightsaber.
Yeah, it's like, what lightsaber is that? What movie is it from? Who's the owner? Blah blah blah. Like that bugs me.
Yeah,
a little bit more.
I mean, I think we've talked about cosplay a little bit, but like I cosplay, or I try to at least a couple times a year. Jorge doesn't, because you know it's just one of us in the family.
My rule's like I'll do one major thing because I still really want to do a Kylo Ren for episode 9.
Yeah, but I cosplay and I genuinely like nerdy stuff. I like Star Wars, obviously. I like Harry Potter. I like comics. Like I read them. I'm more into Marvel and whatnot, and I'm just waiting for the day for somebody to come at me in my cosplay and be like, do you even know what you're doing? I'm like, yes, I do.
Oh, we're gonna get kicked out of that convention. I'm gonna smack the crap out of him.
I'm gonna smack the crap out of somebody.
Quote Deadpool, I'm gonna slap the bitch out of you.
Yeah. But when we went to Celebration, I did a dark side version of Rey, and that was the only cosplay I did, and nobody really like said anything because that movie had just barely come out, and like I think it came out in December, and we went in April, I believe.
Yeah, because the following one was Europe, right? That's what 2016 was.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
and that was Rogue One centric.
Yeah, and we were there for the 40th anniversary of Star Wars: A New Hope.
Wasn't that not? No, that wasn't last year, right?
No, it was a while ago.
Ugh, time's so crazy to me.
Yeah, but we went, and the only cosplay I took was a dark side version of Rey, which I'd like to redo.
Yeah.
Because it was not the best. But that's the only thing I took, and this year it's going to be, I'm going to do more because the convention is longer. And
5 days.
5 days, so 5 cosplays. Hopefully I can pull it off.
I told my coworker that. I was like, we're going to be sitting outside the hotel probably, trying to get into the
At least 2 of those 5 days,
trying to get to the galactic stage for all the episode 9 stuff. Yeah. Specifically just episode 9. Because, like, if they announce a new animated show or something like that, that's cool. But, like, we want
that episode 9.
Yeah, that episode 9 content is prime.
Yeah. And
he's like, you're crazy. He's like, I don't love anything enough to do that.
One of my cosplays that I'm planning is Padme from Attack in the
Geonosian arena.
No, that's not the one I'm doing.
Oh, the dress.
Yeah, the dress from when she's on Naboo. And I'm really curious to see like people's reactions for that, because I know the prequels aren't genuinely well received, and
Padme's character is most definitely not well received, or it wasn't fleshed out, and I think
she's a little better in the Clone Wars. You get a little more sense of like who she is. But in general, I really love Padme. I love the character of her. Like, she's a little bland in the movies, but like I feel like I see past that. So I'm really curious, like how
people die of broken hearts.
Yeah,
it's scientifically
fine.
proven.
Whatever. She gave birth. It's okay. But I'm really curious to see how I'm treated in that cosplay versus like my dark side Rey, or if I'm just in a t-shirt type of thing. Like I want to know, is there a difference?
See, but that's why I'm like Harry Potter, more accepting or more readily available.
Yeah, as long as you know your Hogwarts house, then it doesn't matter.
You didn't even let me say my Patronus. What
was your Patronus?
How dare you?
You took the quiz like 2 times.
And I got 2 of my spirit animals.
Of the same thing, yeah.
It's a beagle.
It's a little bullshit.
And I got a wolf. What's up, son?
Which again, one of our dogs is half beagle.
My dog specifically is half beagle.
Jorge's specifically is half beagle.
Towed her around like Simba. Like, yeah, this is my Patronus. Mess with me, son.
And the other one was a wolf?
Yeah.
Right? How is it that your Patronus was like animals that you actually relate to and like, but my Patronus was an animal that I'm absolutely terrified of.
Maybe you're like a bird in the sense that you don't. We've been over this. You don't like being told. You don't like being told what to do. You don't like being caged in by dates. You are like the worst person to like deal with in terms of like that. And like birds have their own sense of discipline, which very accurate for you. So no, like I get it. You deserve to be a bird, even if you don't like birds.
I deserve to be a falcon.
At least you weren't a chicken.
Whatever.
That would have been worse.
It would have been worse.
So hard.
If I was a chicken, I would have cried.
Daisy got pecked in the eye as a child.
As a 2-year-old by a baby. Not even a chicken. A baby chick.
Well, that's what you get for holding it up to your eye.
I didn't hold it up to my eye.
Oh, remember in bio when I had a chicken?
Yeah, that was horrible.
You didn't even like it. Or I didn't.
I mean, I thought it was cute, but I wouldn't have seen it in person.
That's sad.
Whatever.
Geronimo was adorable.
Gryffindor. You bow.
Gryffindor. Unicorn heartstring, which I guess makes me, or unicorn hair, which makes me a little more sensitive than Miss Dragon.
But do you genuinely think that you would be a Jedi? Would you be able to follow the Jedi rules?
No, I think if anything, I'd fall somewhere along the Canon Ezra. Like it would need to have been dismantled for me to live a life in which I would not just go.
Do you think you would have been like, fuck, hold on, give me a second.
That's 4.
No, shh.
You're blanking really hard.
I'm blanking so hard.
Give me something to work with.
Liam Neeson.
Qui-Gon?
Yes! Oh my god.
How did you blank on Qui-Gon?
I don't know. You think you would have been like Qui-Gon? Because he was always like more white.
More white?
Gray. Okay,
I was like, that's Jedi.
I know. I was like, wait a minute. I said the wrong color. Yeah, he was more like gray. Like he kind of understood both sides, and he was, as I understand, more middle-sided.
He was
in terms of everything.
He was a maverick, and that's why they wouldn't accept him into the Jedi Council.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, because he stuck by his convictions, and he was like, "Look, Obi-Wan, I'm dying, man, but you're gonna train the shit out of this kid."
Right.
And which, like, his dying wish is still disobey the order. Like,
man, Qui-Gon was a real one. I really appreciate his character.
He has a comic.
He does.
That's part of it.
I really want to read the Obi-Wan and Anakin comics.
That was interesting because, like, a little spoilery is, like, Anakin's questioning whether or not he wants to stay with a Jedi Order at that point in his training.
Same.
So it was interesting, and there's some weird plot twists in there that I also thought were pretty cool. The story was alright. It was like the little details you get that I thought were cooler. But yeah, Qui-Gon has a comic in the current like Age of the Republic series they're doing. Mm-hmm. The Age of the Rebellion starts, I want to say, in April or May, because Age of Resistance is stopping pretty soon, within the next month or two. Then Age of Rebellion happens, and it's going to cover... They're covering Jabba the Hutt.
That's a little
He
weird.
gets his own comic, and, like, I don't understand that. And the last 2 that are going to be released for that...
So is that too far with the canon? Because you're getting these characters that you're like, you don't really care about much. Like, do we really care about Jabba the Hutt?
Okay, the comedian in me is like...
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. The smartass in me is like that, where it's like, yeah, like, why not? Because we're also getting IG-88, and all we know about him is that he rivaled Boba Fett in trying to get Han,
the skinny droid?
Yes.
With the weird microphone head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a muffler. They used a muffler, that's what it was.
It literally looks like this microphone that we're using right now.
I know, right? But, like, the Age of the Republic, they gave Jar Jar a lightsaber. So, like, there's a little bit of, like, ha ha ha, like, that I really appreciate.
Oh, like that Jar Jar is actually a Sith Lord and controlled the entire events of the prequels? I believe he got a blue lightsaber.
It's in the Star Wars app now, like, the Star Wars Galaxies or whatever, like, that little war game is. Like, he's a character with a lightsaber. You can get that.
What the heck?
Yeah, so I think...
That's a little weird.
But, like, you know what I mean?
I don't think I'm down with that.
That's funny to me. I can get down with, like, the jokes.
You can down with that. But, like, is an in general thing.
Okay, so yes. Jabba, unnecessary if I'm going to be real. IG-88.
I think that's unnecessary.
Probably unnecessary, but like,
I mean,
you saw all the bounty hunters, and Bosk has been expanded on.
Like, we're going in terms of like Star Wars canon. Like, I know there was talks about a Netflix series, I believe, or just a series in general that had to do with, I think it was like pre-original Star Wars trilogy.
Are you talking about like the bounty hunter series?
No, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know there was a Netflix
but it was
series.
had to do with like the underground of Coruscant.
That was gonna be a video game.
Was it?
It was gonna be Star Wars 13.
Wasn't there a series though that they were making?
I don't know if there was an animated or anything like that. The only thing I remember that's even close to that would be Star Wars 1313, and you are traveling like the underground to Coruscant, and your like mission is to...
Okay, we're talking about canon in general, and we already talked in length about Harry Potter being a little much. And so far, Star Wars hasn't gone wrong.
You don't think they've gone too far?
Not yet.
You don't think making the games canon is too far?
Like Battlefront?
There was a story mode in that, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense. But you don't think, like... I think a game that's supposed to release next year is The Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
And that story is based around a Padawan and his master who survived Order 66. Or maybe his master
like
dies.
Kanan?
Yeah, and like... But do you think that's too far? I think if it's...
I mean, I can't say anything until the actual story comes out.
I don't think
because if it's done poorly, then yes, it's too far. But if it's done well, then it's like, as long as they know what they're doing. But I know that there was... Maybe it was the Bounty Hunter series, because I swear that there was a series that was to come out that had to do with like bounty hunters or like the underground like crime scene of Star Wars.
That was
that just seemed like, not that it would be bad. I actually was interested in it. Like, I would love to see what they did with it, but it just seemed like a little unnecessary. Like they were just doing it to capitalize on Star Wars.
By that logic, I would say Rogue One is unnecessary, though. You have to admit that, like, I appreciate what it did.
It is I'm so conflicted because I really love Rogue One. It's one of my, like, top 5 Star Wars movies.
Yeah, see? So it's like, if we're going, like, to that, then sure.
It was a little unnecessary because you already know they got the plans because of some rebels, but seeing the story was amazing because that movie...
Seeing the most amazing part of that was Vader, and we both know it.
Yeah, like, the last 10 minutes of that movie is absolutely amazing, and it's just... Rogue One is just so good. But, like, is it going too far in terms of, like, giving you stories about Jabba and, like, this random-ass, like... Assassin droid that, like, you didn't really care about to begin with.
If you played okay, so in this I would say it's fan service, right? Because in the video games, in Shadow Empire, or Shadow of the Empire... It's a Nintendo 64 game, and part of it is you fight IG-88. You're Dash Rendar, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I played this when I was super little. And part of it is you work for the Rebellion, or you kind of deal with the Rebellion, and you help them out, and you fight a droid, and it's IG-88. So, like, there's some fan service. And then the IG-88 droids were also in Rebels. Or not Rebels, they were in Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. You fight, I think, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka fought 2 of them at the same time. I'm blanking.
Can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Which means we should rewatch Clone Wars.
That's fine. But they were in there. So, like, touching on things that have been touched on and expanding that way, I don't think is bad. Touching on Jabba, I think is a little stupid. But, like, you know,
yeah,
what did he...
But, like, I don't remember what... But in one of the books, they kind of expanded on... Because Jabba's not the only one. Like, he's part of a family.
Well, in Clone Wars, you had the Council of the Hutts.
Yeah.
And then
one of the books, they also, like, talked about one of the other Hutts.
Okay, so Aftermath,
which one, though.
There's a baby Hutt that was kidnapped.
No, that's not the one I'm talking about.
And then in the Star Wars comics, there's Gracchus.
It was the one with one of the Moffs in it. It was a book. I remember it was a book.
With one of the Moffs?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'm blanking.
Okay, well, that was part of it. I remember that. Like, that was, like, distinctly one of the things that I remember.
Well, okay, so then, I don't think it's bad to expand on Jabba, because all we get from Jabba is what we see in A New Hope, which is the special edition.
But do you need more of Jabba? Like, he just is a, like, gangster dude on Tatooine. Like, do you need more than that?
I think that boils down to whether or not you're ready to accept that the characters you're given are not necessarily the baddest of the bad, but, like, they are what they are, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's no expansion on it. With Jabba, you're like... Or in the 70s, when you saw Star Wars, and Vader comes and just chokes out this rebel and throws him like a ragdoll, you're like, damn, he evil.
Yeah.
But, like...
But then you get more insight to his character with the comics.
Yeah, well, you get more insight to him just through the movies, right? Because, like, it goes from just choking a guy to, like, now he's force choking people through, like, holograms and stuff like that. And that's even more intense. So, in terms of expanding, you don't really get anything evil from Jabba. You just know that Han owes him money, so I don't see a problem with them expanding on it. Like, they've expanded on the other Hutts, and Maul killed a lot of the Hutts whenever he was making his crime syndicate.
I just feel like that might be... That's just a little much for me. Like, as... Again, someone who isn't so much into the Star Wars canon as you are, I just feel like that's a little much. Like, I don't need to know more about Jabba. I don't need to know more about his, like, gangster ways. Like,
you say that, but
he is
when
what
it releases
he is.
in, like, August or September, and I smack you with that, I'm like, hey, Daisy, read this. You're gonna appreciate the hell out of it.
The only thing I care about in terms of extended canon is Ahsoka, always, because I love her so much.
Wait, pause. No, I have good. Okay, so the Leia one is because she's also getting an Age of the Rebellion comic. Like, everybody is. Hers, it has to do with Bosch, or Bausch, however you pronounce it. How she gets that bounty hunter costume. Is that necessary?
No.
But would you appreciate it?
I mean, I think it would be, like, cool. Like, it's an extra tidbit of knowledge that you have, but I don't think it's necessary. Like...
Okay, yeah.
Like, you can just...
I'm fighting my own point here.
You can just assume that she, like, her or somebody else, like, just knocked somebody out and stole their costume, like, in literally any other movie ever when you're in a disguise. Like, it's not... I don't need that expanded upon.
See, I don't know. Maybe it's, like, the little... Because, like, some of them are obviously, like, big expansions on characters, and others are not
I think it just
required.
Depends on how you do the execution and whether it's good or not. Like with Rogue One. Was it needed?
No.
No, not really. Was it good? Hell yeah.
Yeah, but then you can't be like, do we need these comics? Because you haven't seen what they expand on.
No, yeah, of course. Like like I said, I only know what you tell me because you know I like Vader. That's the only expansion I've gone on. Which the expansion that they do on Vader after he is turned and all that stuff is amazing.
You need to finish it.
I do need to finish it because, like, wow, he actually is kind of human.
I'm gonna keep giving you crap till you finish it. I'm telling you this now.
Okay.
I don't know. I think if we're comparing the two, obviously I feel like we're saying a lot more positive about Star Wars than we are about Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So it beats out in terms of, like, things to consume. I think in terms of fandom, Harry Potter wins. I feel like that has always been more...
What a surprise.
It's more warming, dude. And I, like, since I'm so inundated with Star Wars, I just keep seeing people fight about The Last Jedi or, like, the Vader Shards of the Passing that just released.
Yeah, I guess, like, collectively, Harry Potter nerds can agree that Crimes of Grindelwald was not the best that we could have received.
Cursed Child
is trash.
Yeah.
And should not be acknowledged.
There's a lot more agreement, positivity, and, like, inclusivity.
I guess in general, the Harry Potter fandom, on its own, agrees unanimously that, like, hey, this isn't what we wanted, or this isn't, like, good.
There's never a huge
we don't
schism.
really agree. Like, we don't disagree on, like, actually, that was amazing. And it's like, no, guys, come on. Also, we know that it's not good.
Like, it's weird, but how often are you asked, what's your Patronus, or what's your house? Or, like, what amalgamation? Like,
I literally ask people what house they're in constantly.
Exactly. So, like, you don't go around, you're like, hey, man, you a Jedi, you a Sith. It, like, unless, like, I've only been asked that once because somebody saw my tattoo and they were like, you're on the wrong side. And
yeah,
I was like...
it's because you're like, I'm this thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, there has to be, like, a bigger statement of something outside of clothes that states where you fall. So, like, I have a tattoo that's the Rebel logo and has scum written. And he was like, wrong choice, man. And I'm like, oh, Imperial dog? Like, you know what I mean? God. So it's just...
I mean, I guess I am leaning into the Slytherin stereotype because I do have a tattoo of the dark mark on my arm.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I'm perpetuating the stereotype that all Slytherins are bad. But whatever, we're not going to talk about it.
So yeah, I would say fandom, Harry Potter. Consumption, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Who's executing their franchise better? Star Wars. Yeah. Even if it is causing so much upset, people are still talking about it, and because people talk about it, they want to watch and see it.
Yeah. Overall, Harry Potter, we're good people. We agree on what we agree on. Unanimously, Star Wars has better potential in terms of expansions for canon, and it's just a good time. We're rolling with it.
That's a good way to close that. Yeah. Just rolling with it.
We're just rolling with it.
I'm just gonna jump to hyperspeed and ride this to the bitter end.
Chink out.
Exactly. But anyway, I think we've had some good conversation. I think we got
a lot of discussion in there.
You got a lot of Harry Potter hate in there.
I got so much. I'm sorry. Okay, listen.
No, you hate because you love.
I hate because I love. I have a lot of high expectations for what I love, and it's just what it is, okay?
But yeah.
Harry Potter is great. Star Wars is great. I love both of them. We're having a good time regardless.
Harry Potter's fine. No, because I don't love Harry Potter nearly as much as you do.
No, yeah.
And, I don't even think I appreciate it nearly as much as you appreciate Star Wars. And that's nothing against Harry Potter. It's just I guess I'm not big on fixed fates.
Yeah.
So I'm an advocate of the Force wills things,
but it doesn't dictate.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Anakin had every opportunity to not
freaking go to the dark side.
Exactly. And so I think that's the kind of destinies I advocate.
Regardless, both fandoms have their
pros
positives and negatives. It's whatever. They're there.
But this is
I sit on both sides. I love both of them. So
I love Star Wars. I enjoy the Nifflers.
I love Star Wars. I love Vader and Anakin, and I love Harry Potter. Slytherins for life.
The Gryffindors are better.
No, they're not.